Welcome to In the Know with Erika and Tracy. Say yes to less stress, the podcast where wedding planning meets peace of mind.
We're two seasoned wedding pros bringing you real talk, expert tips, and insider advice to help you plan your big day without the burnout.
Whether you are newly engaged, knee-deep in planning, or just love all things weddings, you're in the right place.
So say yes to less stress and tune in every month for your dose of wedding wisdom. Well, welcome back to In the Know with Erika and Tracy. I'm Erika.
And I'm Tracy. Today we have a blooming topic that's necessary for any couple who's planning their wedding. Flower budgets. Ooh. We're going to be diving into the world of wedding florals, exploring options, the cost, and how to make the most out of your floral budget.
So guys, we have two amazing florists joining us today to share their insights, their tips, their expertise, and really pulling back the curtain and looking at the floral design experience. So welcome Fallon of our wonderful mother-daughter duo, Flawless Weddings and Events, and Mr. Ricardo of Iris Designs. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you.
Yes. Yes. And yes, we are so honored and privileged to have you on our show. And we've known each other for quite some time. I mean, I've known one of you all your life, but
I wonder who that is.
But exactly. But we have worked with both of you, and you two are amazing. Both your companies are just so well respected in our industry. You do fabulous work. And so let's just go ahead and start with you, Fallon. Why don't you tell a little bit about yourself and how you got started?
All right. My name is Fallon. I'm with Flawless Weddings and Events, also known as Flawless Flowers by Fallon. I've been doing this. I started my business in 2009 and joined forces with Tracy after a period of time when we realized there was something there that could be put together: event planning, wedding planning, flowers, all these wonderful things. I actually started at a flower shop when I was 16. It was my very first job, and just kind of learned the ropes of things. I didn't get into designing until much later, but that's kind of how I got started. Tracy encouraged me to go around the corner to the flower shop, and I thought, well, why would I do that? I don't want to do that. And I did, and who knew it was going to be the foundation for what I actually do today. So that's pretty amazing. So that's a little bit about me.
Wow. It's always funny when I hear you call your mom Tracy. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on.
Okay. So back in the day, we would be doing bridal shows, and she said, for professional reasons, just call me Tracy. And I'm like, gotcha. Tracy. Fast forward so many years, people would be like, wait, isn't that your mom? Why do you call her Tracy? I'm like, you know what? That's who you are now. Your mom outside of work, but Tracy is who she is to me. So it just stuck. I don't know, for professional reasons, I say Tracy, but yes, mom.
I absolutely love that.
Love it.
Thank you for that wonderful, wonderful introduction of yourself. Now, Mr. Ricardo, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us all about Iris Designs?
Thank you guys for having me. My name is Ricardo, and I am the owner of Iris Designs, and we just celebrated 20 years of doing this.
Yay! Congratulations.
But you know what's funny? You mentioned that you worked at a flower shop. Same here. Before I started, my wife and I, my business partner, we were like, I should go learn how to run a shop. Like what?
Yeah.
Like a kitchen, right? Sous chef. Yeah. So it was. I went to do that, and the funny thing is, when I went to do that, everybody that worked there spoke Spanish. So I only spoke Spanish because I knew everybody there, and I would sweep or whatever. I worked there for like 3 months, and everybody thought I didn't speak English.
Oh,
And it was funny. I was like, no. I mean, I do, but anyways. So and the same with my dad. I grew up in construction, and my dad, he would at work, he would tell me, "I'm not your dad here. I'm Nick."
oh
So I was
wow.
like, "All right, Nick." You know, and it's funny because I still call him Nick all the time. He's like, "Call me Dad." I was like, "Nah, I'm
Yeah.
already done, man. You're Nick." So I get
Right.
it. But yeah, so we've been doing this
Wow.
for 20 years. We just recently opened up our new studio in Rancho, and we're it's funny. People say, "Oh, within the first 5 years, it'll feel like a real business," and then you start. It took us a little longer than that. I feel like we definitely took the long way, but more importantly, I feel that the foundation was set to where I mean we are very very lucky. We just knocked out 11
Wow.
events last weekend. The
Wow.
last
What?
weekend.
Wow.
Because we do a
Oh,
lot of
wow.
corporate and weddings as well. So and then just to do that, it was like, my gosh, we survived kind of thing. So we have the studio for it, which would where we were before, we wouldn't have been able to even do
Yeah.
half of that. So yes, 20 years of doing this, and very very happy, and I'm so glad my community has accepted me and welcomed me to their home, and you guys, we've known each other for so long. It feels like a home, right? It feels like like we've known each other for all these years.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
thank you for having me.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you for
Yes,
that
congratulations.
information. I mean, congratulations. So, yes. So let's go ahead and dive in. What, and both of you can decide who's going to answer, and we would love to hear from both of you. But what is the biggest misconceptions that couples have about wedding flowers and their cost? And also, I wanted to add to that question is real versus fake flowers. Is it a thing that real flowers or fake flowers are less expensive or they're more expensive? Just kind of dive into
Okay.
that.
I think one of the
We can do a whole episode on that.
Okay.
Seriously. Anyway,
we can talk about it forever. But I think one of the most common misconceptions that I encountered for many years was a lot of clients just say, well, don't you just go to downtown LA, the flower mart, and just grab stuff? No. So therefore, a lot of things, when you go down to downtown LA, some of the things are, a lot less expensive in certain areas. I was like, no, we order wholesale. Everything's coming in fresh from Holland, Ecuador, Colombia, all these things. So that definitely has been a misconception for many years that we just go down and kind of like pick things up. No.
No, yeah, exactly. And to tailgate on that is and it happens when you talk to the client. It's like, so what's your budget, right? And they're like, well, I'm one short centerpieces. It's 100 guests, so $200 times 10. So my budget is 2,000. Okay,
Right.
cool. That's for that. Go. Bouquets, boutonnieres, corsages, delivery, set up, all of these things that encompass what we do, and people don't realize that we're not just grabbing the flowers, putting them in a vase, and dropping them off with you. No, there's a whole process. I always think of us as like cooks,
Yeah.
like chefs. You know what I mean? Here's a pound of sugar. What are you gonna do with that? You know what I mean? So obviously we need a little of this, a little of that, and to create whatever it is, the gumbo, what we do for a living here. And I was gonna tell you, you said that just go to the flower mart, right? I love and hate Trader Joe's.
Yeah. And Costco.
Yes.
And Costco, right? Because they're selling it sometimes for less than wholesale, and that's fine. I mean, my problem is not with the pricing, really, it isn't. It's just with the fact that people have a more information, but not the whole information about
Yes.
a flower.
Yes.
Right.
So it's that's kind of and it kind of sucks a little bit. I tell people all the time, $1 million painting, it's literally just canvas and some house paint, right?
Yes.
But
Right.
make a
Right.
masterpiece. That's where the money is. That's where. That's where.
Right.
That's
To
what
add
you're
to
paying for.
your Trader Joe's
Yes.
and Costco, when you go and you see like peonies for like $9 and you're like, that's not realistic. And then clients think that it's easy to add, those flowers to the bouquet. But if your budget doesn't, a lot for that. It's hard to do. We don't go to Trader Joe's and just grab peonies, from there, stuff like that. So yeah, those are things that are misconceptions, and how,
Right.
Costco and Trader Joe's, how they work out their contracts and deals with people so they can have those kinds of prices. It's not the same for us small businesses.
No,
Yeah.
no, and we don't live off just peonies. You know what I mean? Peony, it's fine, it's cheaper, but it's one part of this whole
Absolutely.
equation. So yeah, I'm with you.
Mhm.
And again, no hate on Trader Joe's.
We love it. We love Trader Joe's.
But
Yeah.
but not
Right.
flowers.
Yeah. Yes, but can you touch on the fake versus the real
Okay,
flowers?
yeah. So in my experience, I have had clients say, can I get, the silk flowers or the Sola wood flowers? And I always remind them, I say, hey, go to Michael's, go to any craft store and go take a look at one rose there versus, the bunch we would get in, real flowers. That's one stem, $9.99, $12.99, one rose
Yes.
stem. So to me, it's never really realistic to deal with silk flowers unless it's for like a photo shoot or things like that, and you can repurpose those things. Or if the client is just absolute, I say, well, let's just do it for the bride's bouquet or the bridesmaids, but for everything, not so much. You can add a few pieces in, because some clients will say, well, I really want that dusty blue color, and we're like, well, there's not really a dusty blue rose.
Not real color.
So let's incorporate
Nature doesn't make that color.
some silks with that, but I don't think it's budget friendly as
Right.
people think it is.
And to add to it,
Thank you.
I think the main purpose of synthetic flowers are for fabrication. So whenever we're doing something that, it takes us 5 hours to make, so by the time we're done with one part of it, the other side is dead already. You know what I mean? The water sources, things like that, ceiling flowers, big the Pelican Hill
Yes.
pergola thing, that's 25 feet up. So those that's where synthetic flowers come in, and it will now it's not like half off. I mean, it saves you some money on the material, but in reality, I mean, again, the equation of labor versus product, it's still the same. Nothing changes on it. We're just using a different material. And then to add to what you were saying, you know what I've been using a lot of synthetics. Well, not a lot, but I mean, bougainvillea, for example. They want a little bouquet. The minute you cut that bougainvillea, give it 20 minutes, and that thing is dead. So that it kind of comes in, and a good quality synthetic flower is not cheap.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. So it is cost effective, but I guess the misconception is not what you think it's going to be. I guess it's just a little bit more, a little bit less. I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Yeah. I try not to use it on personals and all that, because I feel like it kills the effect. But like you said, if it's a color that obviously is not real, or if a particular flower is not in season or whatever, okay, fine. But I feel it's best utilized on bigger things. Anything 10 feet away from you, fine. Anything that's right in front of you.
Agreed. 100%.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you guys for diving in, because that's one of the challenges I have is when we talk numbers. And I love to talk numbers, but the first thing is, let's do fake flowers. And like you said, to get a realistic fake flower, go to Michael's, go to Hobby Lobby. They're $5.99, $9.99 for just one stem. And so you hit up on yeah. So also, I think Tracy hit up on it a little bit earlier, is what other costs are in making the whole floral experience. And so I did volunteer to help at a floral shop before. I'm not like y'all, so don't, However, I was just, I'm like, but I was just surprised at how much time you take in just preparing the flowers. Like, you can't just start going to Trader Joe's and putting them in a vase and designing. You have to prepare them. So tell us about all of the things that really go into the floral experience.
Oh, okay. Well, let me dive into this one. Okay, so I think again, the idea is you go to LA, you grab a few things, and we come to the studio and you're like, bing, ding, 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 we're done. There is such a big process. And if you don't cut and clean your flowers, you're not going to give them a great start to longevity. And flowers are pretty resilient. They make a travel from way in different parts of the country all the way here through the shipping ports and all this stuff, then to our wholesalers, then to us. But there is a huge process and, you know, picking up orders, unloading everything, unwrapping everything, of course, preparing buckets, flower food, just so many steps. Again, it's like cooking. It's like cooking Thanksgiving dinner. It's like let me get my pans ready. Let me prep the turkey. Let me get the mac and cheese, the water for the mac and cheese boiling. There's so many steps in it. And yes, Erika, you have come and helped. Tracy has helped me. And you guys know firsthand how insane the process is. And you think, how on earth do these designers and the team, or if you're short staffed that time, doing it all by yourself. And I'm sure, you know, Ricardo can attest to the beginning when you don't have a full staff and it's just you from sun up to sundown doing everything. So I think a lot of the thought is that there is no process, that you just, put it all together and you're done in a couple hours, and it's days upon days of work.
No, yeah, I'll describe a typical Wednesday, right? The weddings are Saturday, whatever. Wednesday, flowers get picked up, brought in, or delivered, whatever. They come in boxes, right? So just going through the cardboard, that's and all that stuff. That's one set. Like you said, the night before, buckets were prepped, right? You gotta clean them. Every rose, no matter how beautiful it is, even if you don't have to flex them or anything, you still gotta clean them. You still gotta get all that gunk out, right? Separated, counting. This bucket has 20 roses because that's the count that we have for the centerpiece, right? So you gotta allocate all that. Just that alone takes about 3-4 hours, depending on how heavy a weekend is, right? And that's it. That's all we do. Just do that. Have it ready so when the actual chef designer comes in, all right, let's start sorting it out and cleaning them, making sure no thorns are gone, all of that. Then that's just the prep part of it, and then we start making it. It's like a whole day's worth of preparation just to start designing. And then once you designed it, you gotta clean it up, wrap it, put it in a vase, cooler, all that stuff. And then on the actual day, which is what my people are doing right now, wrapping the bouquets. Right? Clean out the boutonnieres. Make sure nothing died. Make sure any flower that wilted because they're flowers. You know what I mean? You got to replace them and that kind of thing. And then load them up in the trucks sometimes. Right? Make sure nothing's going to fall because what's the worst thing in the world after going 2 days worth of work and prep and they fall? Oh my God.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you got to be ready for that. Right? And it'll happen. It'll happen every time. Sorry.
Right. No, you're good. You're touching on everything we want to hear, what the couple should know, your clients should know. I mean, we think about all of that, but then also delivery, and then you have to set up. So what additional costs should couples anticipate for delivery and setup? And then maybe even breakdown, right, of the floral arrangement. So tell us a little about the additional costs for that.
So for me, it took me a long time to realize how valuable my time was and how I needed to charge to stay behind, flip your wedding after the ceremony, stay behind, add the cake flowers, stay behind, pick up everything after we've done a whole day's worth of work. Come back, get your candles, the vases and centerpieces that no one took. It is so much time. I think clients don't realize. So we had to start putting a number to that. Like, what does it cost me to stay behind or have staff stay behind or have Tracy and her team, someone from the coordinating side, pull all the candles, pack them up for me because you guys love me. I appreciate you so much. Putting a number to that. And I'm a little spoiled after doing this for so long. I do look to the other half of the team to say, oh, please, because they all have worked with me and realized by time the day comes, how much work I've actually put into it leading up to the wedding. It's hours upon hours. And so now just making sure clients know it's extra. It's not included. It's extra for me to come back. Please take the centerpieces. Take them so I don't have to come back.
Yes.
I'm sure, Ricardo, you could test. You're like, take it all. So you don't have to come back for anything, and then I don't have to charge you for that, extra time. But we try to give away as much stuff as possible. But when they rent things like the candles and things like that, if it's a wedding that's 2 hours away from the studio, I have to stick around to the area, have dinner, have someone stay with me. We got to charge for all of those things.
I think you just hit right on it. The shuffle,
Yes.
what do you call the flip of ceremony reception. Sometimes I'm like, wait, we're doing all this to save a $300 centerpiece for the head table. I'll just make it. You know what I mean? Right?
I have done that.
Yeah, and
Yes.
I don't have to fit it for people. But no, I mean the services that we offer, I think, and even though I have a team, I'm still the point of contact with my client, and we develop a relationship. We do. I want you to be happy. I want you to love. I want you to just love and under promise and over deliver to you as a client. Yeah. But in order to do that, we have prices. We have line items. You want us to go pick up everything at the end of the night? Yes, okay, you got it. It's this much. Right. One of the things that we do offer, we do a lot of rentals, like candles and charter plates and linens and all that stuff. So I tell them all the time, I'm like, you could try to get this as well from another vendor, right? But it's already we're picking up one shot. We'll take everything, and you save yourself that pickup or whatever, or that delivery charge. So I try to always make sure to help my client, but we need to get paid.
Absolutely.
For what we do.
Yeah.
Right. And you develop that relationship with the client, and you're like, but I feel that most of the clients, they'll respect your prices, they'll respect all that, but we just got to be, we got to be straight and let them know that somebody has to get paid to do this.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It took a lot of growing pains to get to that point, because you, like you said, you develop a relationship with clients and you're like, well, I really don't want to charge them too much. But then at the end of the day, you had to start thinking about how exhausted you were doing that, your time away from your family, paying the bills, paying your staff and things like that. And you realized as a business person, you have to factor those costs in, no matter how much you love the clients. It took a long time for me to come to terms with that. Tracy knows. She'd be like, what are you doing? You better charge for that.
No, and I think most people, I would say most people are pretty understanding of that. Yes, there's a lot of heart in this. We love what we do, but we like to get paid.
Yeah. And you absolutely should, because you're using your time. And you both mentioned that, at the end of the day, your clients, you've built a rapport and a relationship with them. So we've talked about costs, but I want to talk about you all as designers. What is it like to have an experience with you as a designer? What can your couples expect when they come to you, Fallon, when they come to you, Ricardo? How should they be prepared, like with the initial consultation? So I know how it is to work with you, but I want them to know how it is to work with you as a designer.
I am for myself, I'm very open-minded. I want different. I want clients to bring me as many different designs and styles as possible. Colors. Bring me colors, not just the neutrals, the blush and the white. Bring me colors. So as a designer, I really love when clients trust me to be creative. They're like, this is what you do, run with it. This is what I like. So I'm very open-minded for a lot of things. And sometimes I feel like, maybe I'm too open-minded. But I just want clients to remember it's their day. I will only tell you that can't be done if it really can't be done. But I know for the most part, 99.9% of the things the clients want, we can do. But I'm just very open-minded. This job is like a free-spirited job, and we're like wildflower children. So Ricardo, I know you can feel the same. It's like we're just different. We're not like, very type A personality. It's more fun and whimsical. And I know Tracy knows that because she'll be like, don't you need to go measure in this? I'm like, nope, I can just eyeball it. I see it. I can just see it. I don't need to go visit it. I know I can do that. So that's our creativity in our mind, can just see things differently than other, people in the industry. But as a designer, I'm just open-minded. I want different. I want unique. I want the bride who's like, I'm gothy and I want like dried, wild burgundies and, blacks and this. And I'm like, let's do it. So that's me.
No, and you touched on that is literally why we got into this industry, because we're creative people. We want to I make this this is separate from what we're talking about, but I always say that it's kind of like people that work that are clean, like janitors, something like that. It's you get this satisfaction. You grab this really dirty thing and you made it clean and perfect. And you're lucky that the next day you get to do that again. Kind of like with us, I feel like as a designer, as an artist, you this filled heart happen when you create something, and then you get to do it again, and then you get to do it again. There's not many jobs that are as fulfilling as that. So that said, so we are a little bit different in the sense that my wife and I were both business partners, right? And I handle, even though we both started design, I mean, the whole buckets and for all those years, her and I, it made for very interesting married arguments and fights, but I'm not even gonna get into that, right? One's creative, the other one is just me being me. But we were early on in the business. We decided, okay, we shifted responsibilities. We still, work together, but she's the creative director, right? She manages everybody that's on the creative process of it. So she actually tends to have a lot more fun than I do. I'm the secondary designer. I come in when, coming in and we need to make 20 extra centerpieces, get in there, kind of a thing, because I also will be interrupted with a phone call, right? Or whatever, I need to go somewhere, whatever. So I'm explaining that because we do have a process on it that forces the free spirit in us to be like, okay, we got to do this. Okay, we got to go, do this. And the way it works is when we meet a client, that's the fun part. That's when give me all your pictures, give me all your ideas, give me the Gothic, whatever, right? And that's the experience that we have. Then we're like, okay, yeah, we can do that. Like when you were saying, like, you gauge the measurement, I measure with my feet sometimes. or I'll tell somebody, stand against the wall. So you're about 5 feet, that's about a 10 feet wall.
These are real things.
So
that's
the experience
funny.
Is that ability that, we can gauge it. And then we actually, once we get that locked in, we get the budget locked in, then we play, right? Then we do a sample. Show you, what we're gonna create. Oh, you want some grapes hanging? Yeah. That's cool. I like to think that we got a pretty heavy portfolio. So when most people come in and ask for, I usually have a photo that kind of looks like it or whatever. But like in your case, if it's something that's new, it's fun, right? Because like, usually it's nervous for them because they're like, wait, does this guy really even know what I want? And I'm like, no, I got it.
I love that.
When you get to create something that doesn't exist yet. And once we do all of that, then it becomes a record at that point, and then it just multiplying it times 20 of those, and the team does it, and we go from there. And when we got to do it in two ways. One, beautiful, awesome, exactly what the client wanted, but also practical enough that we got to travel with it, that it's not going to fall there. And how many things are falling apart, I don't even want to talk about, but
let me tell you, that's a story all in itself. All of the disasters that you've averted, or crisis, or this, like, and transport, like you said, everything that you've worked so hard to put together, for it to fall apart in the van, tip over, something snap, you're like, oh my gosh.
I got so many photos of so many things that fallen, and you open the van, and it's like, oh
Yeah,
my god, that I should have. No, I don't want to do photos. I mean, I'll scare some
Yes.
clients, but that happens.
absolutely.
Yes. So thank you for sharing the design process, but I do have another question for you regarding the timeline. So how far in advance should couples start working with the floral designer to ensure that they get their flowers that they want, and they're on time for their wedding? Like, when should they start booking floral designers?
So for me, I am, as soon as you know your date and you book your venue and you've hired your planner, it's time to get the ball rolling on flowers. So as soon as you know, the sooner out. There are times that we get like 2 months out and you're like, wow. Let's not do that. I would like 2 months to 1 month to be in the final stages of planning everything, and that 1 month out, invoices taken care of, the final designs have been decided. I know there are a lot of platforms out there that give advice on timelines and things like that when you should book your florist, but at least for sure 6 months out. The earlier, the better. If we can secure you and get the initial ball rolling and all that, I'm good with that. But definitely 6 months out. 3 months is pushing it. 2 months is whoa.
I completely agree with you. I feel that I remember when it used to be the year, year in advance. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think 9 to 12 months it seems to be ideal, right? But I mean, let's be real. Could you and I do a wedding in a week? Hell yeah, we could do a wedding in a week, right?
Absolutely.
But then we're doing our wedding, not the client's wedding,
Right.
right? So if you want to do your wedding, we need planning. I think I was reading. I think was it California Wedding, where it came to we're number 3 or 4 depending on booking.
Right.
So it's venue, dress, I think photography, and then us. And then I guess if it's a client that flowers are important, yes. If it's somebody that's like red on the table, they'll come in the month before or whatever.
Right.
Um, um, but ideally the timeline is yes, 9 to 12 months, and one of the reasons why that is because sample appointments. You have a bride that'll start out with peach, then she'll go to yellow, and then the mom says don't do that, and they go to white, and then they go back to peach. You know what I mean? So I want you to have that freedom, and then we'll tell you by this date, no more. So we like to do samples by 3 months before. That gives them enough time to filter out any kind of jittery stuff or any kind of aunts or moms with comments and ideas. And then by 2 weeks before the wedding, yes, we need to have everything finalized and all of that. And people don't realize how fast that'll happen.
Oh, yes.
Or you book a sample appointment and something happens, so you have to book it again. Well, it's not. A lot of times, it's not like we can do it the next day or whatever. I mean, there's a whole nother weekend is going to be shot for that. But yeah.
Right. I do have one more question about, the holidays are approaching. You have Christmas, you have Valentine's Day, you have Mother's Day. So when a client comes to you and their wedding is closer to a holiday, and those flower prices are like high, right?
Absolutely.
What do you tell your client? What do you tell them?
So I'm really bad at this, at looking at the calendar. If it's not February 14th, other than that, I'm like, yeah, I forgot about Mother's Day factoring in for weddings that are in May. So I'll be preparing a proposal, and then I'll reach out to my wholesaler, and they're like, oh no, that rose is that Casablanca rose or that or this, and I'm like, oh. So being very aware of those holidays are so important. So I have gotten better with making sure, because I think what also clients don't realize is we are at the mercy of the wholesalers and the shipping costs, and this fluctuates daily. So when you reach out to me in January of the new year wanting a quote, I'm quoting you as best I can for the prices now. In May, and your wedding is in August, the prices by then have changed. So we sometimes are eating these costs also because we've quoted this out, but I have to tell clients, like, it can change drastically. So I started making sure we tell the clients holidays, the shipping cost, tariffs right now, all these kinds of things play a factor in our pricing. And so clients have to be understanding. And I always put in there that, this is when COVID was happening, and it was like COVID, just kind of did a lot for the industry too, saying like, if in fact this happens, I have to put that out in the very first email, like prices are subject to change. Very first email, very first one going out to let clients know that we are not in control of those things. If it's a supply and demand issue, if we go down and everybody wants blush roses, guess what? Wholesalers are like, the price is up. Sorry.
Yeah.
Everybody wants it.
Yeah.
So
and Ricardo, does that affect timeline too? Pricing and timeline?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. The reason why we do the 3 months before the wedding sample, number one, is because usually something close, if not the flower that they're into, is we're within range. I could do a sample a year before, but we want to get a little closer to the pricing part of it. And then at that point, when I make it consciously thinking, okay, we got to stick to this budget and let's not go over. And then cushion is huge in what we do, because I'll share what happened to me this past year. We don't do retail, so we don't really sell Valentine's Day flowers. But like Fallon, we're affected by the price regardless, right? I mean, it doesn't make any difference. The prices are the prices. We were very, very lucky, and we landed this corporate gig. It was like 120 centerpieces, one of the most that we've ever done, right? All red roses on Valentine's Day week. So I priced it. They approved it. We were good. I was like, wow, this is going to be awesome, right? Do you remember when the one of the first tariff things, I forget what it was, but something happened in Ecuador, or Colombia. There was a whole issue with the tariffs in Colombia. There was no tariffs, but there was a threat of the tariff, right?
Oh, wow.
Right.
I paid my deposit for the roses, right? Before, when we order it. When it was time to pay the rest to have everything shipped, within a day, it increased $2,000. My whole order, not just the cost part of it.
Wow.
I $2,000 because I was like, well, there's no tariff, and he's but it's a threat of a tariff, so we're already on that mode.
Wow.
Roses, as you know, the prices, the roses came down, but not really.
Right.
They went up crazy, and they came down, but not to where they were before, right? So that's an example. Talk about eating your profit.
Yeah.
Right there, I ate a lot of that profit right there. And what are you gonna do? Call the client and be like, I wish I could have, but the deal was done. It was made, and the difference of 24 hours, I should have paid it before.
Right.
But I know that something like that was gonna happen. So even just the threat of a tariff is enough to completely throw off your whole pricing. For sure. In this industry, if I known we'd be doing so much math, I'd probably do something else, right? Because in my head, I'm always thinking, the roses at $25, $22. You know what I mean? And a little off to the right, a little off to the left, and there goes your profit margin for sure. Mm-hmm.
You're so right about that. Math. Oh my gosh. And unfortunately, I fudge my numbers all the time. And my husband's like, why do you have, at the end of, why do you have that much bucket left of that? I'm like, I don't know. I wrote it down.
We go back to the cooking thing, right?
Yes.
Sometimes you only need a little bit of sugar, but you have to buy the whole bag.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. Right. When it's like you only need 5 additional roses, but you have to buy the whole bunch, so you're stuck with all of those.
When people tell me why the bouquets are so expensive if it's only this big or whatever, okay, we use 6-7 different flowers.
Yes.
And I didn't just buy 3 of each. I had to buy the whole.
You have to buy the whole thing.
The whole package. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So on that note, we're going to take a brief break, and we'll be back with more floral talk.
We want to give a big shout out to our amazing sponsors. Thank you to Flawless Weddings and Events for your incredible design and planning. A huge thank you to Flawless Flowers for their amazing arrangements. We also appreciate Erika's Elegance Weddings and Events for your creativity. Let's not forget our musical director, Tony Bowers. You keep the energy high for us. A big thank you to BYC Photography for capturing our special moments. And last but not least, thank you to our awesome team at Power of Praise Network. We appreciate your support. We couldn't do this without you. And to our viewers, don't forget to check out our amazing sponsors. Until next time, bye. Wow, let me tell you, we are unpacking a lot. Our experts are just spot on. They are enlightening me to some things. So, we want to move into one of, I think, me and Tracy's favorite areas is design. We both love to design. And we wanted to ask you, where do you recommend your clients go to get design inspirations for their florals for their wedding day? Cardo, you want to take?
All right, I'll take.
Oh, Fallon, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
I'll start. Mine is really easy, and you guys are gonna be like, "Really?" It's Pinterest.
Oh Lord.
It's awful. I am such a Pinterest girl. Like when that platform was designed, I think Tracy probably turned me onto it. Like, go on Pinterest, and I'm like, what is that? And then now I can't get off it because you can go down a Pinterest rabbit hole. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm open to, clients find things all the time. I'll get TikTok reels from clients. I'm like, oh, thanks. Okay. So you can find inspiration all over, of course, all over the internet, Instagram, and that's what I like Pinterest because you can just type in certain things that you're looking for, whether it's color palettes and things like that. And it just gives you such a variety of different things on there. So that's my favorite. I don't know. Ricardo, what's yours?
No, I swear. So okay, so I probably I think we did the math. Like 95% of most of my clients come from event planners, right? So you guys kind of already did the work with the boards and all that, but if you don't have an event planner or somebody professional to put together a vision board for you, Pinterest is your best friend. I tell people all the time, I go, don't overthink it. Open up 3 boards, bouquets with personal flowers, ceremony, reception, and just go on Pinterest and go crazy. Just throw it in there. Don't even think about it. Don't think about money. Just pick stuff you like, right?
Yes.
Throw it in there as much as you can until you get tired, and then put it away. I swear, give it a day, open it again, and you'll be like, no, I don't like that anymore. No, I don't like that anymore. And you'll be filled.
Yes.
There you go. Boom. Right?
Yeah.
And then you can take off from there and create. Yeah.
Yeah. I did that with shoes yesterday. I opened the cart and I had 3 pair and I went this morning. I was like, I don't want those. So good advice, Fallon.
Okay. I think with Pinterest also is it gives just such a variety. You see a range in their designs. You see so many differences in there. And like you said, they get to kind of weed out that design. Well, I don't really like that rustic chic look anymore. But for the most part, a lot of things in there are the same. So you start to realize, well, this seems to be what you're picking out, a lot of this same design. So it really does, like Ricardo said, if you don't have an event planner really planning and helping you figure out all these things, it's easy for us to say, well, it looks like you kind of like this a lot or like this style a lot. Let's put that together. Then we can also draw and help put a mood board together. But in my first email out, it says, send me your Pinterest link because we know they have it.
Yes, yes.
This happens to you. I'll have a bride that'll send me her Pinterest link and she says, I found all of these right here, but I want it in pink. And all her pictures are of white flowers. I'm like, why everything you're showing me is white, but I can't find the pink that I like. That's because you like white. You know what I mean? Right? Or my favorite color when I was little, or my mom's or whatever, which is totally valid, but it does not. I mean, it's like a lot of times I'll look at their board and they pin the same picture 3-4 times.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Here you go. This is what you're gonna do, right?
Right.
People that are subconscious, sometimes it acts a lot more impulsive, and it's actually more real when you just let it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like when we create something. Oh, go ahead.
No, I love this conversation because the Pinterest is not always what it really is, right? Some of those pictures the colors are off, or it's just different photography. But sometimes they pick these Pinterest pictures that are over the top, right? And so that
Yeah.
goes into my next question. Like, what advice do you give for couples looking to stick with a specific budget? They're sending you these over the top Pinterest photos, but they have a specific budget and it doesn't match that Pinterest picture.
Yeah, that can be tough sometimes. They will say, this is my budget. Well, again, this comes back to knowing our worth and what our time is worth. I actually started putting a minimum requirement out there. This was a few years ago. I started saying, this is my minimum. If this is not doable for you, this is where because we would spend a lot of times going back and forth. And then at the end of that, here's your proposal. It's like, oh, well, we're going in a different direction. It's like, well, just tell me it doesn't fit your budget. I can understand that. Don't tell me you're going in a different direction. Just say it's not the right type of budget. But there are a lot of over the top. So when I send my first email and it says, this is my minimum, if you send me back those designs, I'm kind of like Ricardo, we're going to say like, hey, this times this doesn't equal, it equals way all over the minimum already. Yeah. So that kind of gives them an idea, says, okay, I need to take a step back. I need to reevaluate, or how can we allocate less of the money on this side and put it more towards that, big archway or whatever it is that you want. So just trying to find the balance with them really, to help them, figure out what is best for the budget. And the thing is, they will find it. They will find it.
If they really want it, right?
If they want it, they will find it. They find it renting expensive cars, doing this, doing that. So I've come to the conclusion that if you say like, oh, it wasn't meant to be. So for me, I'm pretty satisfied with putting out the minimum, saying I can go back and forth with you for a little bit, but also sometimes just walking away from ones where like, well, we're not going to meet halfway, so it's okay. But I feel like they'll find it if they really value your work, especially.
Yeah.
I feel that you're doing a disservice if you're not honest with them, and because they will be like, okay, yeah, it's gonna look like that, even though it's less, and we're gonna make it to right, and then that day they're gonna be disappointed, and they're not gonna say I did not want to spend the budget I wanted. They did a bad job. They, you know what I mean? They overpromised and
right.
delivered.
Right.
And what's funny, or you were saying about finding the money, my wife, I told her to sell her car so we could, get some money into it to the new car or whatever. She said, no, I want to drive my car. I don't care. I don't want a new car. I don't care, whatever, right? Of course. Now she's like, okay, I need to get a new car. We go. I'm sitting there, right? And the girl she doesn't like fancy things. She doesn't like any of that, right? The car she got, I was like, right? We found the money, right? Because
right, you found the money,
right? Yeah. So I feel like clients are like that.
Yes, and Ricardo, Fallon, you just mentioned about a car, and not just what your personal car, but like the clients will rent like a Rolls Royce to come drive up in. But I'm like, but you don't want to spend on your floral. You want to nickel and dime different vendors, but you're going to drive up in a Rolls Royce. And not to knock that's cool, but then you're not really respecting the craft.
You're not being realistic about the whole thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
I always tell them, I go, okay, so here we are. This is your budget. This is your vision. Or if this is your vision and this is your budget, one of them has to give.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Right.
And I'll guide you through it. And if we need to reduce the vision to meet the budget, we're going to get something. It's going to be beautiful. Yes. I always tell clients all the time, your budget is, if I'm talking about art, masterpiece, right? Your budget is the medium. Am I using charcoals? Am I using pencils? Am I using, what's it called? Acrylic oils, right? What am I doing? I'm going to create a masterpiece, but it's going to be based on the medium that we choose. Right? Yeah. So when we're looking at Pinterest, I'll tell them, okay, let's do this. If either you come in and you have no idea how much you're going to spend, or you come in and you already did all your homework, that's a lot of an easier conversation, right? But if we're talking about to give you a sticker shock, I always tell them, I go, let's price the Pinterest pictures. I'll price you with the Pinterest wedding, right? And then I'll show you where it's at. We'll see where your budget is. Let's get somewhere in there. But at least the sticker shock will come from something that you're actually looking at, tangible. Because too many horror stories of like, we'll replace this for that, or we'll just make it a little bit smaller. and every single time is a recipe for them to be disappointed. And once they're disappointed, well, you can't go back.
Yeah. And let's just be real. No one walks into Louis Vuitton and Chanel and any other designer store and say, can I get a discount? Can you bring that price down? And that's kind of how I started looking at it. What we do is so crucial to their day. We are designers.
Yes.
We are bringing your wedding vision to life on just a whole nother level. We add so much value to the wedding that no discounts.
No,
we
because
can't
I
afford
feel
to.
that every time that I try to meet somebody on that, they already have the picture in their mind. They already have
Right.
the Pinterest picture. So if it's not that, then the math should be like, well, I didn't have enough to cover that. No, what they think is like, I didn't get what I wanted. You know, I mean, it's funny how, and especially on a wedding day, that nobody's rational on a wedding day. It's all emotions. You know, nobody. You know what I mean? I tell my staff all the time. I go, you never argue with a client on the wedding day. You're not gonna win. That's not gonna happen, right? So you gotta prepare and what is it? Manage your client's expectations always.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you guys were talking about Pinterest boards, and that's one of the challenges. Often my client will say, hey, I want this, and don't really realize, well, that's a $500 centerpiece that you're seeing on Pinterest boards. So,
right.
So thank you for shedding light on that. And one of the things that I did want to ask is, because they are driven by Pinterest boards, which are often driven by trends. You guys are both trendsetters, and I've heard you say, Fallon mentioned earlier, I like to be different. Ricardo, I've seen you I feel like I walked down the aisle and I'm walking on water. You guys are amazing. So what trends do you see that are impacting the industry?
Ooh. I'll give this to Ricardo.
No, it's so funny. Okay, so my background comes from corporate sales, right? Before that was another lifetime before I did this. And in it, there are two forces that drive up people. You know, it's nostalgia or shiny new. One of them is they're gonna buy with one of those, right? And we're in an amazing industry that uses both of those at the same time. My mom's favorite color was, and I love this new toffee rose, right?
Yeah.
So I feel that this happens all the time. My daughter the other day, I saw her and I was like, "Oh, cool, you're wearing bell bottoms," and she's like, "What? Those are bell bottoms." She's like, "They're." Bell bottoms, and your grandma wore them, you know. But that's basically where we're at. One of the trends that I see on personal flowers is that 90s cascading bouquet. Team request for that, right? Or you know what? The baker told me that, remember that cake that would have like the staircase and then the bottom? Those are coming back.
They sure are. I saw that. Absolutely, yes.
And guys, double-breasted tuxedos. Again, probably a 90s retro thing still. So, yeah.
So I'm going to piggyback off that one, which is the nostalgia and trends. But you're absolutely right. My last client, her bouquet, she showed me a picture of her mom's bouquet. I think it was like 70s, 80s, traditional cascade and whatnot. So she said, I want to meet, that style with today's style. And I was like, okay, I'm feeling this. And I absolutely love, because it just embodied like her mom's spirit and all that stuff. And so it was really beautiful. But yes, I think nostalgia, and I'm huge on nostalgia. Like, I'm born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, and I'm all things 90s. I'm like, let's do it. Let's bring all of that to life. So, and we do see that, like you said, our kids today are wearing and rocking things that are from our era, and they think they started something new. We're like, no, that's our era. So I do, you're right.
I got two Juicy Couture, and I'm like, what the heck? Where'd you get that?
Yes.
Yeah. So I feel that we are very lucky that we're not driven just by one particular thing, and I feel that it's a very delicate balance, because my mom's okay. now, but I wanted to make it more newer style or whatever, right?
Right.
You gotta see what it is that she liked about her mom. Okay, was it the color? Was it the type of flower? And then kind of go off of that and create something new. But yeah, trend wise, I think like the whole like with the ribbon on the candles that was really popular last year or whatever.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I feel that somebody did that in 1950s. There's a book that I found. I forget the name of it. Of like flower designing in the 1950s. Oh my god!
Wow.
Those pave things or those kind of deconstructed centerpieces. Those are from the 50s.
No way.
Wow.
Right now, with the big open rose, the big flex roses. Kind of
Yes.
coming out. That's from 1950s.
No way.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Wow.
it's funny. Yeah, it's a recycling. We're in the fashion industry. We just happen to do it with flowers.
Wow.
Agreed.
Wow. Wow.
So let me ask you both this. This is going to be post-wedding options. What suggestions do you have for couples who want to repurpose or donate their flowers after the event? Do you have any like special places that you can refer them to, or what do you think?
Well, of course, if you're going to keep your bouquet, getting it pressed is always my number. I love that idea. It's just finding a floral pressing company that can preserve your bouquet. I have had clients who next day are having an event with the family, and so they want all the flowers because they're going to actually repurpose them for a brunch or lunch or whatnot. So I love that idea. Of course, I think, Tracy has told me many times, nursing homes, my kids' schools have definitely gotten flowers from us because some of the clients don't want the flowers back or whatnot. And I've taken them up to the school. Here you go. And everybody in the office loves them. So you can definitely, there's plenty of things that clients can do to repurpose. But for the most part, they're taking them because they're going to do something with them.
No. I see a rise in the popularity of reusing the centerpieces the next day. Now, if the family's going to do it, they usually just take them that night and then they reuse them next day. But we do offer that service that we could take them with us, freshen them up a little bit, and bring them, to whatever the next morning for a start, right? And then also the nursing home, the assisted livings and all that. Oh my God, you take them a little bud vase with 2 roses, and they love
Yes.
it. And we
They
usually
love
put
Yeah.
like a little sticker that says from the bride and groom names and whatever on it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And we just did this huge funeral. And I was walking around, like we were done, and I was just waiting to get approved so we could get going. And I'm looking at all the what do you call it, the tombstones and all that, right? I guess I don't spend a lot of times in those
Cemetery.
places. They have like little vases. Some
They
of them.
do. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be so cool. I wish I had the time, but take all these up and then just fill them in.
Yeah.
It's
Flowers.
not even that hard, but it looks pretty. Yeah.
I
so
love
that's
that.
cool.
That's a beautiful idea. I actually like that.
It is.
Yeah, and not all of them have them. I don't know if they charge for that or not, but I saw a lot of empty ones.
Yeah.
And I was like, that
Yeah.
would be kind of a cool thing.
Yeah.
Something so simple, but yeah.
Oh, I love that
Yeah,
idea.
I love that.
Oh, wow.
I do too. So it looks like we are getting close to the end of our episode. And before we leave, we want to ask you, Fallon and Ricardo, what top piece of advice for couples would you give them who needs to choose a floral designer? What would you tell them?
I think when you're choosing anybody to be a part of your wedding day, how is their personality with you? How do you vibe with them? Because ultimately, this is a customer service driven industry, and having that connection with people, I get a lot of, so that's it at the end of the day after the wedding. We're not going to talk anymore.
You can call me if you want.
I'm like, we can talk as much as you want to. And a lot of us end up being on each other's Instagram and Facebook, and I get to see the progression of their life after marriage, their babies, their this, and some of them say, can you do my baby shower now? Things like that. So I think the most important part above all, money to me, it's not always the most important factor. It's my birth last name is Love, and I always say I'm in the business of love. And to me, it translates to how well did I connect with that person? Because even though, like I said, I send out a minimum requirement, things like that, but if I just vibe with you, it's sometimes worth just working around it, because that's just my heart. So I definitely recommend, if you vibe with a person, and their energy is great, and you feel like that could be your friend at the end of the day, then go with that person, work with them.
No, I've done weddings that were way below the minimum or whatever, but I was like, "Ooh, I like where you're going with this. I want these photos." Like the bride it's they're into it, and like I said, you connect. It was like, "Cool, let's do this." Okay, you can pay.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think you touched on I think it's the most important thing is I mean, you can give away the wedding for free, but that does not guarantee you're gonna have a good time on it, because although people are paying, they're paying. This is money. You're paying for the service. You should enjoy it.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not saying we're going to become besties, but maybe, right? I tell clients all the time, I'm married. You can't hurt my feelings. Example, and then we talked about it, and we did all this, and you don't like it. Tell me. I want you have to be comfortable with telling me you hate it or you love it, right? Because there's nothing worse than buying something you didn't want and you don't want to kind of really hurt the guy's feeling. No, I don't want you to take something you don't like. Let's fix it. And I think having a good rapport with the client, they're comfortable doing that. Sometimes too comfortable. I was like, I was kidding about the hurting feeling things, but yeah. But it's also trust, right? I tell clients all the time, and Fallon, you and I can vouch for this. We have a whole plan of what we're gonna do, and then shit happens, rain.
Yeah.
So now
Absolutely.
we spend 6 months creating this beautiful arch, hub, and all that, and now we got to do it in the hallway of the venue.
Yes.
Right.
So
Because it's pouring raining.
Yeah, you got to trust me that we have enough of a rapport. You know what? She doesn't like this. She's gonna like it. Do you know what I mean? And
Yes.
I feel that's very important, and I want to give my honest opinion to the client because that's what they're paying for, and my suggestions would come off of that as well. And if we need to kind of adjust and make sure that that we change things around, I want you to feel comfortable, and and vice versa.
Right. And that's why it's
Absolutely.
so important to have a team. So when I say a team, I mean your wedding planner, your floral designer, they're connected. Like they have a relationship, your photographer, your videographer, every vendor that comes together for this special day needs to be in tune with one another. And so that if anything happens, rain or wind, we're all together saying, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to move it here. We're going to do that. And that's why it's so important to, first of all, have a connection with the client, but also have a connection with the vendors. So I really, really appreciate both of you coming on today, sharing all this wedding flower business stuff. No.
I feel like we just did a little therapy right here. I feel better right now.
Yeah.
It was wonderful. I enjoyed it.
Yes.
Thank you guys for having us.
So with that being said, this concludes our blooming budgets for today. And that wraps up today's episode. We hope you enjoyed diving into the world of wedding florals with us. It was such a joy having our talented floral designers join us and really break down what goes on into creating all the prettiness you see on the wedding day.
Exactly. We covered so much ground, from seasonal availability to design complexity to going downtown LA and Trader Joe's, which absolutely love. It's amazing to see how all of these elements really truly do influence pricing. So remember, it's all about balancing your dream floral vision with your budget and working with your planner and your floral designer.
Yes, so if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, follow all of us on Instagram or any social media platform, and share it with others who are planning their wedding.
So again, Ricardo and Fallon, we thank you for sharing your expertise And to our followers, we do appreciate you and thanks for tuning in. Join us next time for more insightful discussions that will help you bloom into your budgeting journey. Until then, happy planning.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for joining us on In the Know with Erika and Tracy. Say yes to less stress. If you found today's episode helpful, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share with someone planning their big wedding day.
Until next time, say yes to clarity, confidence, and calm.